that they weren't really able to get their CT side going on a map that historically has been very CT side. So I think that's kind of one thing that piques my interest is the fact that, yeah, these games have been close, and yeah, Extra Salt has won them, but Pain's always been able to have a pretty good attack. So that does open up the possibilities even more, in my opinion.
Well, it's grand finals time, and Pain Gaming with a chance to finish this off 2-0. They're starting on the CT side of Extra Salt's choice of train. And Extra Salt, they're not messing about. They're already out onto the A site. They want to take this one by the neck and really look to try and press it forward. Marky alongside OC have already dipped in for frags, and it's looking great. Nekis on the flank, though, can try and get through the smoke, and so nearly gets the kill onto Sonic, who survives on a measly 4 HP. Has to back away. That's maybe a way back out for Pain, and Hardshow's finished off Fang. Marky, in the meanwhile, is tapping himself into a bit of success, and Safi shows his hand outside of Pop Dog, snatches off the head of Marky, and in doing so, gives them a real chance, a real glimmer of hope. I believe there was a kit down, and now Safi's picked that one up for his teammates, as he looks to try and push forward alongside Nekis, who is keeping one of these players interested in the smoke. The bomb is getting defused, and Safi has actually stole it from underneath them. Somehow Pain have got that round.
Oh my goodness. Not like this, Vince. Surely not. Extra Salt, as you said, wasted no time pouncing on the outer yard. They had great utility in place to block off some dangerous angles. They got the entries. They got the bomb down. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. And then somehow Pain Gaming grinded their way back into a 2-on-2 and then defused the bomb right under their noses. That is insane. But now we actually have to tease on a better pie despite the loss. Just CT economy things. They will have the Galils and AKs against the MP9s. 1 Scout, 1 M4 for Pain Gaming.
In order to facilitate this better firepower, though, they have pretty much sacrificed any utility. They've only got a decoy, that's it, but they have got the opening pick. Safi overstays and overextends and is punished with his life. Down he goes, and Pain Gaming will be struggling as a result.
The problem is trying to retake with these MP9s that this is going to be such a problem. Like, Pain are trying to play the up-close angles with them, which is the right thing to do. You know, play up close on TCOM, play up close on ladder, maybe even play up close on the lower ramp of the inner sight. But once you let inner sight fold, bomb goes down, you're having to play a retake. It's going to be so hard to close that distance and get utilization of those MP9s. So this is looking really good for Extra Salt. Great pickup, though, by Nekis on the Fang. Good incendiary and lower ramp to try to stall in any type of inner push.
Well, this is where the lack of grenades could start to become that pain in the backside for Extra Salt, where they need an entry. They need a clean, snappy entry to get themselves into a good position here. And Biggest Error, who's posted up on the ladders, has a very fast rotation. Already PKL's moved into main as well.
That day was deadly, Vince.
Was deadly, softens them up. This is where the MP9s may flourish, may shine. Hardchow takes off the head of GT, then Sonic. OC does come back with one of his own, but it's going to be a post-plant 1-on-2, and he may not even be allowed to survive. The plant does successfully go down, but his life is paid for in full. And Pain Gaming, again, successfully get the retake.
Indeed, they do. They'll be able to make sure that 2 rifles come through as well, able to trade off those MP9s. Problem is, you're on a 2-round loss bonus plus a bomb plant. So Extra Salt still have buying options here. Luckily, Pain would be able to rebuy full rifles for the most part. Could even drop if need be to make sure everyone has at least an M4. So at least they're not going to have to worry about, you know, the inferiority of having the MP9s versus full rifles. And indeed, Extra Salt will spring for the full buy of Galils and 1 AK. But the issue is the same thing as last round. Limited utility, and if they lose this, they're full saving, and Pain is allowed to build up a pretty solid lead on the defensive side of the map, which is historically been the side they've struggled on in their matchup against Extra Salt.
Extra Salt slowing it down somewhat here. Marky looks for information. Spot it. Nekis is being tagged down so low, and Pain now have to try and somehow stymie this push, and they've done it with bullets. A barrage of them spat towards main. 3 players have fallen to its wake, and now Marky trying to pick up the slack and run with it. That's the right idea. Nekis is down to 1 HP, and Safi at range with the AUG has at least nullified OC. Nekis, who is exceptionally low, just has to stay alive, just has to keep some form of semblance that he's over there. And Pain Gaming, 3rd consecutive round, finally they've fully broken the economy of Extra Salt.
Indeed, they did, and NECA still has an MP9 he can put to use to farm some cash around like this, where Extrasol have nothing to work with, so you can help build up that bank for later. So that's something to think about. As Extrasol, like you said, going to have to just go on the deco this round. So Pain Gaming very likely going to get the 4-0 start. It would be the best start they've ever had on Train CT side against Extrasol, comparing it to their previous 2 matchups earlier this year. So this is a good sign for Brazilians to perhaps keep that 2-0 a possibility. Certainly still very early to call something like that, but hey, at least they're on the right track. Safi, though, eats a lot of utility damage here at Ivy. Becomes a vulnerable target. Has to be very careful about ever peeking around that smoke again.
JT down to 25, but Safi's not faring too much better. At least has the extra buffer of the Kevlar behind him and 4 healthy teammates with firepower and utility to accompany him. PKL will replenish the smoke and keeps both Marky and JT at bay, at arm's reach. This is the kind of round where Extrasol, I feel like just throwing in a Hail Mary, like maybe trying to see if you can just get some aggression and make this a real scrappy kind of round, may be a good way forward.
When you have no utility, I mean, you pretty much just have to hope that you're connecting some 1Ds or something like that to try to, you know, shock Pain, or at least, you know, force some rebuys out of them, keep their economy low so you can try to capitalize a little bit later when you're back onto your own full buy. There's definitely a couple of like long-term goals you have to be thinking of in a round like this, as opposed to just trying to win the round with only Deagles. But they're able to find one little pick here towards outside, but that seems to be about where it will end, as now only Marky remains. 4 CTs left to deal with. He's found one pretty quick, but took a lot of damage in that battle, and PKL able to clean it up. They'll bring over 2 AKs and an M4. Still can't really afford the double op, but can get the single for Safi. Full buy in effect for Extrasol as well. They will have the op on OC. I feel like this is where Extrasol need to make a statement, fans. If you lose this and you allow Pain to potentially go up 6-0, already a mat to the good, from their defense where they've struggled in the past, that would be kind of a nightmare situation for Extrasol.
And 2 of their heavy hitters have been eerily silent so far. Sonic and Fang have yet to get off the mark. Speaking of Fang, though, he will get off the mark. Just hyper-aggressive plays. And it's Sonic's flash that helps him out, lends him the helping hand from range.
Yeah, that was nice how he kind of bypassed the incendiary that was on Olaf and just kind of ran up the lane. Gets a huge entry that they were not expecting. And now you can just see the repercussions it has had. Entries all around the board now from Extrasol. Big Zera tries to respond onto a frag on OC, hits him for 93, but it will be the round's Extrasol and a save for Pain Gaming on these 2 members. And if they can carry these 2 rifles over, they likely could still get a buy next round. It would be a little bit labor, but they should be able to piece it together. Without these rifles, they'll likely have to take the, you know, half buy or a full save. Such a clean round for Extrasol. They'll win it flawlessly.
It felt like all the first 4 rounds were the appetizer, and the main course came in, and Extrasol have devoured Pain Gaming without too much trouble. Just aggression was the order of play. As you said, with those 2 save rifles, it does give them some options, but Extrasol will be feeling like they are in a really good position here. Even though they're 4-1 behind, they know that Pain Gaming are hanging by a thread in terms of their money.
Yeah, again, they could do some dropping to be able to get a full buy here. An op could be dropped over to Safi. PKL has enough money to buy himself for sure. So FAMAS will have to go to Nekis. So again, a little bit less than ideal, but still pretty good as far as utility and overall firepower. A loss here, though, means Extrasol could work on that lead pretty quickly. Very fragile economy in place here for Pain Gaming.
They have all of the tools and the foundation for that bridge to navigate their way over the gap towards the 4-1. Harjal, though, holds on for dear life, but only can trade for 1. 1-for-1 trade will be good news for Extrasol. Allows him to potentially just pummel the site. But Safi, he knows what's potentially coming up. That's a well-placed incendiary and well-timed at that. It forces 2 players away.
Yeah, Harjal was kind of hoping that Safi would maybe be able to get a trade back with EWP and they'd actually come out on the better end of that exchange. But Safi wasn't able to connect there. Has to just fall back. Fang and Marky have been tagged up a bit, but still the 4-on-4 will favor them with this much time left still to play with. And The one thing working against them, though, Vince, is something that's come up time and time again. They do not have that much utility, just Molotovs. They have no smokes to block off Z or any of the lanes. So it's really going to, again, come down to kind of just brute force and brawling. To be able to really get in with an op and play on Safi, that could be tough.
Because Zera has multiple positions that he has to try and dodge and weave into, gets a 1-for-1 trade. It was a target-rich environment, and they have come out ahead in these trades. OC misses his shot, gets punished by PKL, and Marky couldn't really make amends. As a smoke was in his eyes, it's now dissipated. But 25 seconds and no control over the bomb makes this a tentative round at best for Extra Salt. So we're talking about the financial situation being grim for Pain Gaming. Well, they've held on with 3 players.
Yes. They might even... No, they didn't get the upgrade to FAMAS, but they still held on to the op. They still held on to 2 rifles. Big Zera and Harjal could replenish. Extra Salt still have money to burn here. Full buy coming into play, including a good utility set. Very big round here. This round almost feels like kind of a 2-for-1 deal for whoever comes out on top. Again, the money for both teams at this point is getting to a dangerously low level. Quick utility being poured to outer, but no space being taken by Extra Salt in the midst of it all.
And the pace slows down. Understandably, the tension very thick. A lot on the line between both teams, and Extra Salt know that they...
How many Cs, Vince?
All the Cs. All of them.
Yeah.
But they know just how important the starting half of this map really is. Yes, the CT side will fare very well for them, but did they give themselves enough of a chance and enough to play with? Safi at the back of the site, though, will pick off JT as he looks to rummage through the smokes and flashes, but Harjao has been using the spools as his defensive point, and Safi, he just keeps snatching away lives left and right. You expect the Orpus to have a lot of presence and pressure on a map like Train, and so far he's been doing just that. Sonic stuck at the back of the site is joined by Fang, but the 2 of them are both on that side. Box halls and site. There's no rotation in play.
There's 2 Molotovs, though, to stop the defuse, and there's no smoke to extinguish, Vince. That could be a factor in how the rest of this plays out.
They also need to move in quickly. Time is ticking away. Less than half of the fuse remains. Big kill from Safi, but Fang's already plucked out PKL. 1v1. Safi, no idea as to Sonic's current position, and Sonic, the South African, is going to strike from the back of the train and does pull out the round somewhat. That was a round that looked like it should go the way of Pain.
Yeah, it wasn't very convincing a victory at all from Extra Salt. They spent so much utility on the initial execute, and they really didn't get that much for it. I mean, they denied some space to the retake, but they definitely kind of lost some of the initial exchanges and were playing from behind for quite a bit there in that plant situation. But Sonic able to put a halt to any fears. And now they get the benefit of playing against a really struggled to buy Pain Gaming. No.
We saw this multiple times on Inferno. Will we see the same again? A force buy from Pain with Deagles, SMGs, and Scouts. Oh, no. He's bypassed the damage. He's moved through the smoke. PKL tries a speculative spray, but nothing is forthcoming. JT now holding main. But the T's are all segregated from one another. They need to start moving in as a unit here. They at least have a bit of Ivy control, and JT has multiple positions for him to maybe pivot into, but Safi's taken his head, removed his head, and now Fang's made noise. Marky's last man standing, but he's down to 30 HP, and it's looking like they're going to get the force buy to work.
Indeed, they do, and I thought they were done for because PKL tried to pick up an AK and actually toss both guns away and was actually very vulnerable. But he was able to slither around and grab the AK back, and then, yes, they come out with the victory. That Deagle up close near Olaf was the starting point, and they were able to just use that momentum to drive forward a victory. And now look at what it's caused. Extra Salt just on Deagles and a Tech 9. Again, sparse utility. It's been a constant theme of this T side. They've only had a couple of rounds where they've actually had nade sets that you would consider suitable for a good round. And now there's a chance that Pain Gamer are going to start taking a really big lead here on their CT side as we see Harjao spotting this push.
He spots the push, but he goes a step further. He just mows them all down. He gets 3 kills, finally falls on his sword, but he's done more than enough damage for the rest of Pain Gaming to capitalize on. A bomb plant here would be pretty huge for Extra Salt. Marky knows it. He's going to try for that plant, but the downtown grenade has landed. 7-2.
Yeah, this is a much different looking train than what we've seen these two teams show in the past. Again, each time they've played each other before, each team was able to at least do 8 rounds on the T side. I think Extra Salt was able to get 9 or 11 rounds on their T sides in the past. This time it's looking like they may not even hit, 6 or 7.
Been so impressed with Pain today in this match. Really felt like Extra Salt would have their number again. That Kryptonite, like we spoke about before, but Pain have been unflinching. Harjao, not for the first time in this very position, goes 1 for 1. This typically ends up being the case, but because he's so far forward and no one is there to help him out, it's just free reign for Extra Salt to get across to the site. They still have 2 plays as well, by the way. Moving outside of main, and Fang at range has put down PKL. This look is now huge. Nekis has to fall back from the site. This is keeping the CTs from actually fully investing over on the B side of the map, where Biggest Error is all alone, and now he is the last man. So whereas the initial frag came down on B and they spilled out on B site, because of those 2 flanking options, they've now re-rotated the bomb back to A.
Yeah, I mean, this couldn't have really gone worse for Pain Gaming. Really well-read round from Extra Salt to pick up on the kill in box halls, realize the vulnerabilities that they had created, and then capitalize on them by just keeping the pressure up and not really allowing Pain to read on how they should be rotating, as they were already spread thin due to the numbers disadvantage. So, again, tip your hat to Extra Salt. They played that round out well, but to Pain, I don't know what they're thinking with that type of round. You don't need to be trying something like that. It's not like you're in some type of desperate position. You're ahead. Control the game. Especially when you know Extra Salt's money is this low. If you would have won this round, they're back to saving again. There's no need to gamble at all on a play like that. Or, look, if you're going to get aggressive, you need someone else to be there. You need trade potential. To not have that, you're basically relying on, like, a crazy individual multi-frag round. And, yeah, they've gotten plenty of those, but you never want to have to rely on that. You want that to be kind of a bonus if it happens. And so I don't really agree with the shot calling there from Pain Gaming. I would have rather seen the double aggression or no aggression at all at inner halls, and just realize what type of position you're in and capitalize on that. No need to force a play. They still get a double op though this round, Vince, so that's kind of nice. It's something different as well. I don't know that they've had double op yet this game.
I don't believe so. I think the economy has just been so back and forth. They haven't really been able to afford it fully. So we are going to see Bigger Zero with the second of the AWPs, and Safi is mainly focusing his way over on Ivy's side. OC maybe coming up head-to-head with him, a battle of the AWPers up on the dumpster, and Safi already has a good idea of this. The flash affords the safe passage of OC, and he puts the bullet between the eyes of Safi. Excellent start for Extra Salt.
Still a really weird play from Pain, though. I don't really get that bait and switch. It seemed like the M4 should have tried to bait for the op, but either way, they're actually still coming out on top elsewhere. They have cleaned house in the box halls. They are now up in a 4-on-2. They've upgraded some weapons, and all of a sudden, they might still win this round and force a save out of Extra Salt.
I can't believe that they got the pick on Safi that easily, that early, and it's still capsized. But Fang is trying his best to maneuver the ship away from the rocks that are looming ever so close, giving them an opportunity. But Bigazera is still alive, still in position, and he flicks across the Fang, snatches the life out of him. Marky now, who is the top fragger over on Extra Salt, has been having a game run so far. Last bastion of hope, at least has the advantage of being unknown as to where his presence is, trying to live incognito, but he may be spotted and is spotted by Bigazera, who's not quite finished off the frag, finally does just that. Although Nekis doesn't have a kit, Bigazera does, but I think he's got more than enough time anyway, so it doesn't really matter, and they can pick up all the weapons they want. 8-3 lead.
Yeah, they can even go double op if they so choose, and indeed it looked like they did pick up that second op over towards Obby, so they'll be able to keep that in play. And again, Extra Salt with that bomb plant now actually might be able to put something forward in this round. Indeed, they will be able to get the AKs and nade sets. No op that will be in play this time. And if they lose this round, it's very likely 10-3 for Pain Gaming. Both economies, in fact, are quite fragile. This is very much a combo deal type round. Whoever comes out on top likely will find the next.
Nekis now into Pop Dog. And
They both jumped at the same time. Did you see that?
yeah, the timing could not have gone any sweeter as far as Pain Gaming are concerned. But as I say that, JT just spills right out, and it's another super aggressive round. But it looks like it's going to be the same result. OC and Sonic going to try and take that away, though. And finally get Extra Salt across to that fourth round. There's been so many close 3v3, 2v2 situations. And we have yet another one in play.
Most at Ivy not really allowing Safi to find an angle early on here. Now they're going to get a player up close on camera position. That's going to be OC looming in the shadows. This could be a real problem for Pain's retake opportunity.
Orb comes through first, and Safi still gets the shot even while dinked. How he wishes he had an AK in that position. Sonic does have the 47 alongside him. His trusty companion, and although the spray's not quite there, there's only 2 HP remaining. Hard Chow underarms a grenade, and Sonic walks into it. He only had about 2 HP. That's so unfortunate, and Pain Gaming, again with a successful retake.
What a genius lob of the grenade from Zhao. He knew that he was low on health. He knew that he needed to stick the bomb as quickly as possible. So he puts the grenade in a spot that his opponent can't really avoid. And he knows that chances are, because he's got low health, that's going to finish him off, and I can focus on this defuse. And he was able to do it. That was such an amazing toss of the grenade from Harjao. And that puts Pain to 9-3. Extra Salt, as you can see, with that bomb plant, that does give them some spending power. Without it, they would have been basically done for. But they can call it tactical, and they can actually start piecing together a buy. Here's the problem with this, though, Vince. If you keep having this happen, where you keep getting bomb plants, but you're not winning, you're never able to sit down and get an op for OC. You're having to keep doing these AK buyouts with sparse utility. You got JT out here struggling to be able to get things going with the AK. Same with Sonic. You're getting out-fragged across the board, and once again, you are on the losing end of a very lopsided battle. And this is the map that they were such a favorite on, Vince.
Yeah, this is the map that we all felt was just a formality, you know? If Pain lose the first map, GG, well played, it's 2-0. If they win, we're going to nuke. Well, apparently, maybe we're not. Maybe Train is the final destination here for Extra Salt. And although utility is being expended, Pain have already taken control over main.
They're doing a great job playing these forward angles, and they've done that throughout the half each and every time. They're forcing Extra Salt to take damage or just have to play slower pace than maybe they were hoping for. JT trying to make something happen. He's got Sonic with him here in the ladder room, but Big Zera able to get the peek and get away. Nice flash comes in. Big Zera can chase. Able to escape as Sonic, but they've lost some map control and they've lost a player.
He's chased the kids off his lawn at least and has taken Pop Dog control. And actually, Sonic has the audacity to re-peek that and gets punished. His life deemed forfeit. And Pain looking good to pick up a potential 10th round. OC, 19 HP. Fang not faring too much better, and now he is last man standing. Safi puts the AWP to use. 35 seconds, does have control over the bomb, but that's really the only thing that might be working in his favor. And to make matters worse, Big Azera's already moved up. Pop Dog goes in for the peek. Beautiful headshot from Fang. Rapid reaction speed. Can smoke down for a bit of safe passage, but Harjao has seen this, and he can just watch the cross. The chances of Fang winning this are so exceptionally low, but he does have the clarity in all the chaos to get up on top of the site and try and make this a little bit more shaky. Try and get that post plant into effect. He's actually given himself a real chance here. Fang could potentially clutch this, but Harjao has the advantage in HP and makes use of it.
Yeah, they had a great crossfire there. It was going to be tough for Fang to break out of that. He certainly gave it his best effort. You can applaud it. He gave himself the best chance to pull it off, but again, it was just too tall of a mountain to climb when it was all said and done. That may just be Pain Gaming as a whole, as far as Extra Salt are concerned. They are getting crushed right now. No matter they are normally so proficient on. That bomb plant does net them the ability to get the full AK buy. But again, utility is somewhat low. And again, no op is going to be in play for OC. This man has been a monster with the op in our region over the last few months. He's never really able to play that card on this T-side train.
Just seems like Pain have had Extra Salt's number at every given turn. You can see in action, especially from watching the DreamHack finals that I was fortunate enough to cast as well. You can see the changes that they've made, and you can see like all the hours that have gone into watching the demos to make sure they were as prepared as possible for this game.
Yeah. It shows their defense is way more effective than it was before. They were only getting, like 7, 6, even less rounds than that. Now they're already up to 10 with 2 rounds to go. We're trying to see Extra Salt to spill in here to the inner site. They have been able to pick up the entry, and they're with the bomb plant. JT also catching PKL on the aggro alert, so this is a chance when they get around.
A real chance. They ended the first half at least with a victory. Maybe they can end this one with 2. Safi scurrying around the smokes. The money actually from Pain. You'd think at a 10-3 lead it would be just brimming to the full, but it's actually pretty rough. Yeah. There's a very real call to just try and save this, but they may be denied in that endeavor. And Safi now posted up on the trains, gets fragged by OC. And with that kill and with the round, to be fair, a 5th should follow.
Yeah, it does seem very likely considering the money situation. Like you said, they were able to build up a lead, but they were constantly losing players here and there, having to rebuy. Rounds were fairly close, a lot of 2-on-2 situations. So it has caught up to them here in the final round of the half. With that said, though, the fact they've already put through 10 is such a good number. You really kind of always are hoping for like 10 or 11 rounds on your CT side train, no matter who you are. And so the fact that they've been able to get that 10 number, despite the fact they've struggled defensively in the past, is such good news for them. I'm sure they're not too worried about this. Oh my goodness, look what Harjow's done.
Oh no, Sonic. Oh no. No one was there to watch the B flank.
First time he's gone for it, too.
PKL lands the shot onto Marquis. Weaken nearly gets the second through the smoke, but Marquis, who is already weakened, has now been finished off by Nekis. And Big Azero with the Deagle on the site is going to be funneling away the damage while Nekis comes in and has picked up 3 with his scout. Now trades up to the AK. I was talking about potentially finishing the half of 2 rounds. I jumped the gun well and truly. And now Fang has to multiple times, but he can't get it done. Pain Gaming will lead on Extra Salt's choice 11-4 going through to the second half. We're on the home stretch, potentially, if Pain Gaming can convert from an 11-4 lead. The grand finals, best of 3, with a spot at Blast Spring Premier up for grabs. And Dust, we didn't think it would come down this way, but Pain, they have proven us wrong at every given turn.
Again, they have been so impressive tonight. And all the maps we've covered, they have just looked so sharp. I mean, it seems like every map, everyone's fragging out. They're also able to change the pace. They seem to just have such good spacing and time. Their trading efficiency is off the charts. They've had so many multi-frags as well out of their lineups. As they're looking for a triple Ivy opening here, including the bomb carrier in this pistol round. They've also shown some presence at box halls. Thought they might take some ladder control, but now they decided to back off and just head towards T-Con. Looks like they just want to try to pop open this outer site. There is a stout defense in place, though, I must say. 3 players kind of near Ivy for extra salt. So we're going to have an all-out brawl you have to feel in this Ivy hallway, Vince.
Yeah, and if they can get up closer, this is where the Glocks typically shine. So I wonder if they can move through relatively unscathed without losing players. That Molotov definitely could afford them safe passage. They have a flash and 2 smokes as well. Safi taking point. And this is where the T's will start to spill out into the open. Smoke preceding the push. JT not able to thread any shots and perforate that smoke for frags. And so the T's have managed to just completely swarm in. But Marquis trying to hold off on the side. OC's already picked up 2. And now Sonic goes into action where OC gets a 3rd. It was looking very sketchy for a couple of moments there when they forced the T's away. But unless PKL can pull off a miracle, it is going to go the way of extra salt. So they will live to fight another day.
Yeah, well-managed round there for them. They kind of avoided some of that utility towards Ivy. It was a great thought from Payne. Like, they block off back calls. They block off an ability to get a bunch of space at Ivy. Then they were going to pop flash their way out from T-Con so they could just kind of swarm, you know, the backside of the site. But it just seemed like extra salt were able to kind of avoid some of that and just set up shop and just won out their fights inside the site. So well done from extra salt. I like the idea from Pain Gaming, though. There was definitely a nice theory to that set piece, but their flashes just weren't as effective as they had hoped.
Marky looking to mop up, perform the janitorial duties over on Pop Dog, and Fang is just shoulder peeking the second he sees a pixel. He'll be backing away. I expect him to actually throw out the incendiary a bit earlier than that, but because he has the secondary unit of OC there with York, it feels a little bit more comfortable just to hold on to that extra utility a couple more seconds.
Yeah, saving it till later when they're forced to actually make the push is certainly great. May not even need it, though. He just gets to have them fly into his face. It's raining men here in the inner yard, and extra salt, they're loving it.
Just one casualty, which was OC. They can pick up that AUG without any issues, and so they effectively lose an MP9 instead. But this is what we've been waiting for. Pain Gaming now have their purchase. It won't include an AWP, but it includes plenty of AKs.
And again, they've had plenty of good T sides against extra salt on Strain the last couple of months. It hasn't been their problem. So even with those couple of losses early in the second half, extra salt need to be very careful here to try to keep this series alive. Pain Gaming can still be very confident they have extra salt right where they want them. Sure, they'd love more rounds, everyone would, but they're in a comfortable spot, in my opinion.
Still plenty of that buffer of rounds to burn through. Marquido in this bonus has gone in. Picks up the kill, but 2 players exceptionally low. Sonic down to 2 HP. Fang gets both of them, though, and it could be a 3rd, but Safi extinguishes the Molotov, charges straight into the eyes of the opposition. And in doing so, it affords him safe passage towards the bomb plant. So we'll be post-plant, whatever comes up. Hardjow accompanies him. Between the 2 of them, they don't quite scratch together 100 HP, which JT will eclipse just by himself. But they do both have AK-47s. They both have smokes. They don't quite have that nuts play of the Molotov, though. They can just bank off the upper box halls. There is also a smoke from JT, tosses it in. Safi now using that smoke to his advantage. Big spray comes in, lands in the head of Sonic, and Safi is still alive. He's still outmaneuvering the CT, sprays through the smoke, but goes down to the hands of JT. Hardjow is the last man. The last man standing, and it should be good enough. Marquis has to stick the site if he wants to win this round, and he knows he's out of time, and the bomb will finish him off anyway. He will not live to tell the tale, and Pain have picked up their first round of the T side.
Pain did such a great job with their post-plant utility. They kept refreshing smokes on sidewalk and next to bomb train, which never really allowed extra salt safe passage in to start finding out where Pain Gaming was located and to use their main advantage to actually trade players out. They killed so much clock with those post-plant smokes. Even with the initial exchange to get into inner being so unfavorable for Pain, you really, feared the worst for them. They were somehow able to muster through just well enough to get the bomb plant and then just work really well together in that 2 versus 3 to kill clock and get key frags. That's what they've done time and time again throughout the series. And now look at this, extra salt buying all that they can. It's a scout. It's an op. It's a bunch of FAMAS. If they lose this, their money is completely depleted. And honestly, they would almost be force buying the rest of the game from this point forward. Or at the very least, they're having to give one away for free. And Pain Gaming's probably at a lead that's just insurmountable. So they really need to win this round with as much as they've invested into it. So sparse on utility, though. I don't even see a kit.
Yeah, there are no kits, and there's only 3 grenades total. One of high ordnance, one of incendiary, and one of smoke. And the incendiary's already been tossed out. The rest of the grenades are all centralized on Sonic.
Yep. And it's just a smoke and an aid. And like you said, no kits. Retaking going to be so difficult now. At least they're able to get some forward angles here on ladder room. OC has the op. That's another big tool to have. Big shot on the PKL as well. And he spots another and gets away. So good intel, good exchange to get the quick 5-on-4.
That's a great way of mitigating and negating the issues that we were just talking about before. The lack of utility becomes less and less of a problem as each threat is dealt with accordingly. So the first being PKL has alleviated a little bit of that momentum. OC goes in again. Gets a third as they just walk in one by one. OC showing us why he is so highly rated. With all the stats that he's accrued over this tournament and the last few months. 20 kills to his name.
Have you seen where Safi's gotten himself, though? The problem is the bomb's down at T-Con, so Safi's positioning may not wind up being able to be fruitful, but there's a chance he could blow this round up if his teammate can just stay alive a little bit longer.
Exactly. A flank is only as good as the pivot point that you can move off, and so if Big Azera dies here, it's probably not going to be good enough. There's only 20 seconds, and Safi knows he can no longer mess about. He has to start getting in the thick of it. But even with that kill, I don't think it makes a great deal of difference.
No
12
time.
seconds, they still need to pick the bomb up. Yeah, this is done.
Yeah, saving these 2 AKs is going to have to be key now. Safi was hoping that if he played it a little bit more patient, he'd be able to get more than just the one, but he never really found another opportunity. So he had to just kind of pick JT off. That was the free target. They couldn't find much else, though, to actually reclaim the bomb and get that key territory back. That was such a great play for Extra Salt. Great opping from OC. Getting an open pick at Ivy, keeping all their options open, getting Marky into close position, but never really even needing to use him. OC just took care of it by himself. So that's a great round from Extra Salt. That's a round they had to win. Otherwise, you feel like the economic problems would just be too much to recover from, and Pain Game would just be skating to victory. But now, Extra Salt are still very much in this map. They have a huge advantage in this round.
Yeah, this is a drastic increase in that probability of potentially bringing this one back. But we did see earlier, when they had that golden ticket, they didn't cash it in. They slipped and fell and face planted. So let's hope this time they don't rinse and repeat. That was against basically pistols, albeit when they're on the T side of things.
Issue is there's just not much to use for Pain Gaming. Not only firepower, but even like I think they're going to try to run their pistol strat again. I feel like it's going to be the smokes on either side of Ivy, the block off back calls and block off kind of like near old hell position. Use that to try to pop flash their way out with their T-Con players. That or they're going to take back calls. Looks like they're going to go for the back calls play. Yes, because they actually gets a pick as well.
OC, though, will nullify that. Safi
bomb
has been spilled, and yes, that's the bomb, so they have to expend the flashbang. Won't do enough for OC, who is holding on the tight angle. And Nekis is caught in a really awkward position right now. He wishes his teammates were close to him, jumping up. There's a Ford in the safe passage, although he gets his kneecaps blown out. Still survives to take down OC. But elsewhere, Marky and JT clean up the rest. And now Pain will have no money to try and bounce back.
And it looked like there was a decent chance at setting up some type of outer split, but when the bomb went down that deep in back halls and OC has the op train in that position, it was just too much to recover from. Extra Salt starting to piece together the proper defense they need to keep themselves afloat here, keep that third map an option. Now they have what essentially should be a true freebie. There is nothing for Pain Gaming to use this round. They have one Deagle, maybe one P250, excuse me, 2 Deagles. But, I mean, surely Extra Salt find a 9th round here.
Oh, they absolutely should. And I would think 99 out of 100 times they absolutely do. The question for me is whether Pain can take a few players down, because you see Sonic and OC, they're both below that $1,000 threshold. So any kills, especially if you can get 2 or 3 out of this round, is, I would say, a victory almost within itself. So Pain, they still have plenty of objectives and missions at hand.
Yeah, I mean, even getting a bomb plant here if you're paying would be a miracle considering they have just upgraded pistols only, no real utility to get any space for free or deny vision to their opponents. Looks like they're just going to try to spill to outer as well, which is a way tougher place to try to force a plan at.
Does allow them to use the deagles at range, as Big Azera has proven with his trusty sidearm, but Marquis is just pivoting left and right, taking heads, collecting them with a 3K. And it is only the one casualty. So Pain Gaming, they do get a kill, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, if they could have got a couple of more, maybe they get a bomb plant, maybe it gets interesting, but to no avail. Extra Salt really clamped down here on the defense. Now they have their own double op and play with OC and Sonic. Sonic's had a quiet game thus far. Maybe they had the second op in his hand. It gives him a chance to spread his wings and soar up the charts. Exactly what they would need to try to stop Pain Gaming from closing out here on Train. Pain finally with the full buy. No op available, but plenty of utility. Once again, looking for the heavier Ivy opening. OC this time looking to get, or excuse me, Sonic getting aggressive with the op, and he finds his man and gets away.
Yeah, and these were the kind of plays that they were getting constricted on Inferno on the CT side. We saw them try and do this through middle and top banana, and there's constantly just a barrage of perfectly timed utility. And this time, no avenging frag. This was a consistent factor on Inferno. It has been a little bit more absent on Train. That's kind of the nature of Train, though. It is definitely a harder map to avenge on the likes of Ivy, and there's another one. OC, both AWPers, proving to be worth their weight in gold here.
Yeah, Pain at least now knowing what they're up against. And no double ops in play for Extra Salt, and it will be going forward until they can stamp them out. But knowing's half the battle. Free kill, though, onto JT there. That's a great shot. Sonic at least able to respond. Only 2 now left from Pain, both towards Ivy. They can block off the op angle with the smoke here. They're actually going to try to go for a boost. Sonic seems privy to it, though. Indeed, he is more than ready for that. And this round looks like it should be Extra Salts.
Yeah, he was afforded the luxury of peeking at that angle as Sonic has gone down to the hands of Hardjow, so just keep that in mind for a couple of moments. Hardjow's not completely out of this round just yet, but OC does have him dead to rights if he does peek through on the Ivy side. And I was going to say that Sonic was afforded that safety of peeking up on the boxes because OC was watching from CT spawn towards Ivy, so they knew that was also clear.
Yeah. It's one of those things now where now you have to figure out how are you going to stop these two ops? What flashes or smokes are you going to be able to use to try to push and pull them out of position or overwhelm them with numbers and up-close situations? This round, obviously not going to happen. They're going to likely have to take a save here if they want to get a nice full buy in the next round.
If you have missed any of the action of the previous games, or indeed the first map or the first half of this game, then head on over to the YouTube channel, Venn Esports, and catch all the awesome action over the duration of this tournament. There's been some great games. I mean, sure, it hasn't always been like the technically best and sound gameplay dust. I know you've been scratching your head a few times, but it's been entertaining at least.
I mean, this series has been good.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been the high level of CS you want to see so far here in this key best of 3 for that single slot up for grabs for Blast Premier.
HE barely affects Hardjow. I thought that was going to absolutely destroy him. I think it landed just behind him. That second one, though, definitely lands, as does the third. He just gets carpet bombed out of the round, as do Pain Gaming. 4 casualties already.
Yeah, they got absolutely blasted. No real hope here for Big Zera. But to be fair, Pain didn't really put too much into this. They took the middle of the road approach, make sure they get the full buy next round, which they certainly will have, including an AWP for Safi. He hasn't had one yet on the T side. And so he will be able to take a crack at it in this round. This is a big moment. I feel like this is the round that kind of dictates how the rest of this half's going to go. If Extra Salt wins this, I feel like there's a very good chance we're going to see a third map. If Pain can grab it, it stays very interesting. It feels like Pain are starting to run out of steam, and I feel like this is kind of not quite last-ditch effort by any means, but it's starting to get down to the wire for them.
Yeah, this is where we need to see like kind of research and strat.
What's your best
that
strat?
Nekis was talking about, you know, the extra couple of ideas that they had. They were hatching in their brains. These are the moments you have to pull them out if you're going to be successful.
Yeah, to be fair, they haven't really had a chance to like really crack open the playbook. They've been limited on utility and firepower throughout the bulk of the half so far. But this is their chance to really kind of stretch their legs to show you what they got.
Marky tosses in the Molotov. Or pardon me, tosses in the smoke to deal with the Molotov, but it's more to stop any shenanigans down Pop Dog afterwards.
Right. Double op not in play anymore for Extra Salt, must be said. Sonic is on the M4. Utility's also quite low for Extra Salt, except for Fang, who's got plenty to still stall out this inner push. It seems to be the goal for Pain. They're all gathered up here, except for one player. That's Neck is still kind of lurking towards Ivy, but now he's even backpedaling. Got to regather with his team. They have plenty of smokes, Molotovs, and flashes to try to crack open center side. There is a defense in place, 2 players.
Time is running dry, it's running scarce. And so Pain Gaming know they have to pick up the pace and Harge out. Takes down Marky. The bomb is now transitioning, though, across to Pop Dog. JT, different angle. It's had a bit of a rough game so far, and OC, although he did connect the shot onto Nekis, it's just the leg shot. Everything's just gone horribly wrong. They get spilled and ripped apart, left and right through and outside. And Sonic's been Molotoved out of position. He can't deny the bomb plant unless he can get the perfect wall bang, which won't be forthcoming. And even then, it does very little damage underneath the train. So he has to try and somehow clutch this 1-on-3. Won't be happening. More than enough money for Extra Salt to bounce back in, but you said, Dust, how important that round was. And Pain Gaming have somehow made it work.
Yeah, they throw a nice little feint at the inner bomb side. It did enough to certainly keep the 2 players in place. And then it all came down to whether or not they could win that exchange in ladder room, which they were able to accomplish. And they were able to limit OC to just 1 kill with that op in the outer yard. So a bit of an audible that got kind of called last second, but the clock really putting them in a dangerous place. But they were able to figure out that one path to victory, and they hold Extra Salt off from tying up the game.
JT and Sonic down very low alongside Fang. OC and Marky looking good financially speaking, but they know that they are hanging by a thread right now, Extra Salt.
Yes.
They're desperate for every little inch of the map they can possibly take. Smoke tossed down onto Ivy. Does stall and stagnate Nekis if he wants to push in. And a flashbang just to make sure they weren't pushing through the smoke to try and take the most of that transitional movement.
Ooh. This ladder room positioning, this battle seems to be the key one here. Marky gets a great angle, great flash. She's able to capitalize. Big Zera down. That was kind of the linchpin of the previous round. Now it's been patched up by Extra Salt. They still have the double op in play. They have the 5-on-4 early. No real map control being taken by Pain Gaming here. They're in a lot of trouble.
It's just been some really good utility as well on Ivy. It's just consistent smokes and incendiaries down there. Finally, Nekis, though, he's moved out. They've bypassed one another. Nekis has spotted JT. Would have heard that. Safi at least has been dealt with by Marky, but now Nekis can start to show his hand. 30 seconds to play with. They need more entries. And Nekis will be put down by Sonic's AWP. Gets tagged. Gets fragged by PKL. 22 seconds. PKL needs to land more headshots. Needs to try and carve a path back into this round. Another missed shot, this time from OC. Harge out elsewhere has put down the Pain. The remaining 2 players are so but OC with a phenomenal no-scope just when it was required. Extra Salt just about hang on.
So you're telling me he missed that one shot, scoped in, but then hits that? That is straight up filthy. I was a bit concerned when some of the op shots were starting to miss, but then OC hits that one. Lets you remember that he's one of the top oppers in the space right now. And that's a big victory for Extra Salt. You can see what it's done. Pain Gaming having to scrape the bottom of the barrel to get a purchase in this round. Even then, it's not ideal. Extra Salt have a great chance of tying up the game here. Great chance of even that map 3 as an option. They're playing so well, Vince. They've really gotten their acts together.
You know, being treated to an excellent train performance by both teams, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's not that Pain have necessarily been bad by any stretch on their T-half. It's just been Extra Salt have been that slight bit better.
Yeah. You were starting to fear that you weren't going to get to see, like the, I guess, Extra Salt's potential in a way, just because of how Inferno played out and how this map started. But now you're starting to see some of the reasons why this Extra Salt team has been doing so well lately. They're starting to, you know, flex those muscles a bit. And now they have a great chance at a tie.
Could be an opportunistic moment opening up here, though. There's players pushing to the back of the site. No one's up close apart from Fang. But there's no one spilling out of upper. It's just going to be simple, straightforward massacre. Extra Salt turning the screws, and OC deals with big Azera, and not even the flank is successful. And that was all the last few cents that were put into that round. Now, they could maybe squeeze another buyout, but when they're so close to losing the map, do you go for it now?
Yeah, this is a tough call. I would call it tactical and really think about it, because the one choice is just to go for like a Tech 9 buy-up or something, and try to do something quick towards the enter, maybe try to get a plant, maybe give yourself a chance to win. But again, you don't hamstring yourself. You want a full buy next round. You want to get an op in Sappy's hands again soon. So this is like they're going to go for the lower buy approach. Smokes are going to go towards outer. They're trying to close distance here as best they can with this Mac 10. And scene.
That's just as I was about to say, that Hardshell's made up so much ground. Stray bullet through the smoke, connects in the head, down he goes. And they tried to get aggressive as well through Ivy, but they've been thwarted by a couple of flashbangs, a lot of damage to Big Azera. PKL, though, making moves to all off. Wrapping around, should at bare minimum get one, could get two. Doesn't get the second frag. JT tagged down to 8. PKL had the round in the palm of his hand, and it slips away.
I don't know whether to be sorry for him or whether to be critical that he couldn't come up with more. I feel like he got a little bit unlucky there. It sounded like he was being patient and doing the right things, but just missed one extra bullet he needed on JT. That is crazy. He could have blown that round wide open, Vince, but instead, Extra Salt are able to likely kind of recover, reset, get all their positions covered. And now, whatever chances Payne had at pulling this one through have been quite withered away. They're going to have to hit some crazy deagle shots now to have a hope.
Yeah, you feel like that was their opportunity. That was their moment, and it has gone by the wayside. Dashed against the rocks. OC on 30 kills, by the way. He's been fantastic here on train.
Yep.
And we may not be done just yet. But he's still watching the cross. Should have this kill into Big Azera. One of the easier of the kills that he'll have today. And they kind of stumble over each other, and Marquis finally gets the spray on point, picks up his second in the round, and his 25th overall. Extra Salt in the lead.
They've not really done a good job of making these op shots hard for OC. They haven't really been able to, like, flash him off comfortable angles or put him in awkward space. Granted, they haven't really had the economy to do so the last few rounds. But that's going to have to change. Either Savvy's going to have to win a straight-up out duel against him, or they're going to have to make it uncomfortable for OC. Give him a challenge. He's able to just hold very safe angles and basically get free shots of people slow walking into his crosshair.
Molly's been extinguished left and right. I think one from the CTs, one from the T was tossed down on Sandwich. Marquis, in the meanwhile, though, makes short work of PKL. And this might be Payne Gaming's last opportunity to put this map down and take the grand finals 2-0, and it started pretty poorly. Marquis very low, though, 3 HP to his name.
Yeah, it's really starting to seem like the wind is really well and out of Payne Gaming sails at this point. They seem to be struggling to find openings and find ways into rounds, but that's a great shot. That's OC finally off the board early, but Fang, he has a position that has been unchecked. He's able to spring out. Luckily, Hardshell limits the impact to just one frag. Oh no, gets caught with his pants down. However, free kill for Sonic, and now it's right back to advantage for Extra Salt.
I don't
and the
understand.
Bomb is down.
Yeah, he had the bomb. Why would you risk re-peeking that with a Molotov? It's just so little worth in return. Safi, though, puts out JT. Is cognizant of that rotation, and with Marquis being on 3, the Glock would be good enough.
Yeah.
But again, it's that bomb positioning that is so brutal. Now, fortunately, Sonic wasn't peeking from CT, but does come back in with the USP. And Extra Salt now have 2 chances to bring us to Nuke.
Yeah, it seems like Nuke is all but notable at this point. It just really feels like Payne Gaming have lost their way a little bit here on this T side, and Extra Salt are finally coming alive. Sonic has had such a recovery individually now that he's been able to get that secondary op in his hands. OC showing you why he's been praised so much lately. He's been playing so well. He had a bit of a quiet Inferno, but now he's right back to his regular ways here on train with 31 kills to his name. Rest of the team is doing just fine as well. It seems like Nuke will be required to decide things here. Payne, though, at least they have a full rifle by this round. Low utility, and a couple of guys are on Galeos, but at least they have a little bit of something to work with. They still have some chance.
There's a semblance of an opportunity that maybe Payne Gaming could extend this further. Especially
there was a lot of
Nekis.
conditionals in that sentence, Vince. Maybe could, semblance. Like it's going to be labored, Van. So they got the first pick, though.
They do indeed. And they also have a lot of control outside.
Yeah.
Already through Ivy,
More than I
already
would've
through
expected.
Olaf.
Exactly. A lot of good positioning. They don't really have smokes to block off a lot of entry points back in for extra salt. That's the problem.
JT actually turns into the flash. Unbeknownst to him, it was tossed towards the back of the site. Now comes back in and finishes off a weakened Neckis. Maybe this is the beginning of the end. After all, they get the first pick, but everything else has just come cartwheeling down. And biggest error, picked off by Marquis. We head to Nuke.
Man, oh man, extra salt. Just when you thought maybe they had gone by the wayside, just when you thought maybe they had cracked, they keep their composure on their map pick of Train. They put that first half to the side.